Welcome back, folks, to the Lights Ed online video show. This episode and every episode so far has been brought to you by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com. Greggy, KeystoneTech.com, man.
Always worth checking it out. They come out with innovative product, great quality, good pricing, good service, everything you can ask for in a lighting manufacturer.
So that's KeystoneTech.com. And what are we talking about today? I think we're going to do some predictions. We're going to talk about the future. Come on, future.
We're going to attempt to. So our last episode, we talked about how the year in review a little bit in 2018. Now we got to look ahead at 2019. And I think I'll start it off because it's something I've been thinking about. Is first you got to look at the industry as a whole and kind of where we're at. And there are industry stages. I've seen some that say 4, some that say 5. I like the 5-pack because the one makes sense to me as an industry starts. There's a startup, then there's a growth stage, there's a shakeout stage, there's a maturity stage, and there's a decline. And I think, and a lot of the predictions are going to be because of this, that we're actually in the shakeout stage right now. Some people think we're in the growth. I've heard some say maturity, but I think it's a shakeout, and I'll tell you why. If you're ready, unless you got something you want to chime in on already.
No, I'm all ears, man.
You're in, okay. So shakeout stage. So I kind of see it as 3 different markets that we look at as the manufacturers, the distributors or contractors, and then the end users. So you got to look at those 3 and where they're going to be at in terms of lighting. So I think this year, in 2019, manufacturers are going to emphasize efficiencies over innovation. And what do I mean by that is they're going to look at consolidation. We're already starting to see some of that, but that's going to become more and more prevalent. And they're going to improve manufacturing processes. That means whether it's automating production, with the tariff threat, there's going to be less reliance on China. So automation would help a lot, maybe bringing that process over here. And then I think price stabilization because of that. I think that's where the manufacturing side of the business is going to be in that shakeout. They're going to get down, define what's left and improve the efficiency portion. From a distributor side, I see it. You're going to specialize and focus on differentiators, like find a niche market, find a unique selling proposition, find what you're good at and focus on that and attack that. And then from a third standpoint, the end user, I think you're going to see a lot of pissed off end users. A lot of people that initially adapted LED are going to look at it and I run into it a lot where they're having fixtures burn out and things that they need to replace. And now it's in the stage of they're not really excited about having to replace it because they have to pay for something they thought was going to last forever when somebody sold it to them a couple of years ago. So I think that's where I see it. It's going to shake out. And to sum it up, it's really who's staying and who's going. I think 2019 is that year that you're going to decide, are you in lighting or are you out? This is your year. Let's figure it out. How about you, Mike?
That was a good summary. Oh, man.
Thank you.
So, yeah, no, that was good. You must watch the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast or something. I don't know, man. I mean, I think you nailed it across the board on that, man. I think you're going to see industry consolidation first on the manufacturing side. I think you're going to see it, as Randy said on, I think, episode 56 of the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. He talked about even the Chinese companies beginning to consolidate. And we know we talked to Elysian about that. And when we were in Shenzhen in 2014, what was there? They couldn't even count the number of LED manufacturers they had in Shenzhen. It was like 5,000 or something. They said 4 to 5,000.
Yeah, on our half-hour drive or 1-hour drive, we saw several hundred that they pointed out. Everywhere you're looking, everywhere.
Yeah, boom, 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 right?
Yep.
And so I think that there's definitely you're seeing the Ides of March are going to come, and people are going to be like, okay, you're right. What do we do here? You're going to see people bailing out of the lighting business like crazy. I think a lot of on the distribution side. So manufacturers agree 100% that you're going to see consolidation and sort of like that stabilization of the pricing, right? Totally agree. I also think you're going to see standardization with the Jaga. I think you're going to see a push from, whether it's NED or what's that, what's the other one, the codes, I can't remember off the top of my head here, but you're going to see a push towards standardization of colors, push towards standardization of form factors from Jaga, stuff like this. I think that's going to start to happen in the business as well.
So do you think they're going to do as much innovation as they have in past years? That was one thing I stated, is that I think it's going to be more about the process of making what they've already made versus looking at making new products.
Well, I think the innovation, I think there's going to be a cycle to the innovation. This is going to be the cycle. So the reason why there's so much rapid innovation in LED lighting in the lighting industry is because the form factors of the existing legacy product were set. So you knew that ballasts operated on this particular voltage, and fired fluorescent lamps like this, and all the fluorescent lamps were at 48, 36, 24, whatever lengths. And that's why you don't see LED tubes in the oddballs, right? Because they don't know what ballasts are running them. They don't know if they're starter based or whatever. So where you see the innovation is wherever the form factors are really strong. And so I think what's going to happen is the industry is going to consolidate. They're going to join up to Jaga. They're going to create those form factors, and then you're going to see another innovation happen once you don't have to worry about the size and like instead of focusing on the mechanical gear in the fixture, you're focusing on the performance of the product inside. I think that's what's going to then recycle the innovation from there. From the distribution angle, I think it depends on rebates in your market. What happens? Okay. Right? So if you have a rebate program in your market and it carries on until 2025, I think it's business as usual, man. I think you're going to keep rolling out, your LEDs. You're going to have to deal with a lot of warranty stuff. You're going to have to, if you want to stay in the game, you're going to have to come up with a warranty strategy, especially for, I think the big thing is not burnout, it's going to be lumen maintenance. I think you're going to see people calling you about, not about their lights are out, but it doesn't seem as bright in here anymore. Like
you think that's going to happen, huh?
Yeah, I do.
I've been wondering that. I only hear it when it's out right now, but it's got to happen at some point, right?
I have a warranty call right now where I walked in. We did it's 347 volt ballast, so there might be something with the 347 volt ballast, that works, but then it does something on the back end voltage to it or something. But I went in there. We did it originally, and it was like what happened. The way it happened was they had fluorescent tubes. And a lot of the we put in high bays in 2012 or something like that. And then a lot of the fluorescent tubes burned out. So I said to them, look, you know what? I'll give you credit for the fluorescent tubes and just go ahead and we'll put it towards these LEDs. And it was a great move. And I thought, wow, what a slick move. I got them into LED and they didn't care. It was part of the warranty service and made lots of money. Whatever. I went in there and they're like, yeah, it doesn't seem as bright anymore. I'm like, well, it's because it's November and the time change and blah, blah, blah. I went in there and I felt like it wasn't as bright too. I went in there, I'm like, looked up at the tubes and I thought, you know what? Those tubes don't look very bright. And they were all the same level of light. I looked for differences in them, but they were all the same level of light. And I thought to myself, I wonder if these things are dimming. And I said to them, do you have any that are steady on, like 24/7 that you leave as emergency? And they said, no, because I was hoping that one would be less or whatever, right? But I think that's going to be a big issue is lumen maintenance. And people are going to be just wondering, why doesn't it seem as bright in here as it used to? So I think that's going to be another issue. From the consumer perspective, I think a lot of people are, the consumers know about LED now. They know about it. Mm-hmm. You're not revealing anything to them anymore. I think the cost has completely collapsed, and there's no need for rebates anymore on the one to day-to-day light bulb point. And I don't know if the high-end sale, the vast majority of 4-inch recessed cans we sell are the flat panels for whatever cheap bucks. Mm-hmm. That's what people want. They don't want dim to warm. They don't want this. The vast majority is that. So I don't know, man. I think dim to warm is something that could really gain steam in 2019 for the consumer side. Okay. I think people want dim to warm. I think that's something that should be. Maybe it's more difficult than I think, but I think that is something that you could really capture people with. But then people are going to want it for really cheap. So yeah. So I think you nailed everything on the head, and I went a little bit off tangent there, but I think you really covered that very well, Greg. Congratulations.
Thank you. So you think we're in that stage too? That's where you'd feel like we're kind of shaking it out?
I think the manufacturers are leading. And I think the distributors are following. And I think there's rebates that affect those distributors. And I think the consumers are largely aware of LED. And then the commercial consumers. I went to this one parking lot, dude. I lost the job. Probably 2014, 2013, something like 2015, something like that. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, 2015 probably. And I lost it. Every single light fixture in that parking lot is either half burned out or out. Every single one. And it's some nasty looking LED with these square arrays in it and you can see the arrays are out or half on or dim, and it's gross, dude. And I mean, that guy's pissed. And, you know, I get it. But you know what? Serves him right. He went for the lowest price, for sure. I know he did. So, you know what? You reap what you sow, pal.
There you go. So that's 2019 coming up. We'll see what happens, huh?
Keystone Technologies, buddy. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com, baby. KeystoneTech.com.